So students, let's welcome to our second lecture on transmission line, and today we are going to discuss the general solution of the transmission line. As we know, the circuit with distributed parameters requires a method of analysis somewhat different from that employed in the circuits of lumped constants. Since a voltage drop occurs across each series increment of line, the voltage applied to each increment of shunt admittance is a variable, and thus the shunted current is a variable along the line. Hence, the line current around the loop is not a constant as is assumed in lumped constant circuits, but varies from point to point along the line. So, differential circuit equations that describe this action will be written for the steady state, from which we can find out the general circuit equations. Now, the notations used will be defined as follows. As capital R, it is the series resistance, which is ohms per unit length of the line. Capital L is the series inductance, henries per unit length of line. Capital C, capacitance between conductors, farads per unit length of line. Capital G, shunt leakage conductance between conductors, and its unit is mhos per unit length of line. Omega L, this is the series reactance, and its unit is also ohms per unit length of line. Capital Z, which is equals to R plus J omega L, it is the series impedance, and its unit is ohms per unit length of line. Omega C, it is the shunt susceptance, and its unit is mhos per unit length of line. Capital Y, which is defined as G plus J omega C, it is the shunt admittance, and its unit is also mhos per unit length of line. Now S, it is the distance to the point of observation measured from the receiving end of the line, that is the end of the line. From the end of the line we measure the distance, and it is given by S. Capital I is the current in the line at any point. Capital E is the voltage between conductors at any point, and small l, it is the length of the line. Now we are going to draw a line that in the limit may be considered as made up of cascaded infinitesimal T sections, one of which is shown. As you can see, this elemental section is of length ds and carries a current capital I. The series line impedance being Z ohms per unit length, so the series impedance of these elemental length of ds is given by Z into ds. As you know that the voltage drop dE is written as I into Z into ds, as because voltage equals to current into impedance. From this we can get d ds equals to I into Z. Let it be equation 1. Again, if the shunt admittance per unit of length of line is Y mhos, so that the admittance of the element of the line is Y into ds mhos. So the current dI that flows across the line will be given by, as we know, current equals to voltage by impedance or voltage into the admittance. So it will be given as dI equals to E into Y ds. So from this we can find out di ds equals to e into y, and that is equation 2. Now differentiating equation 1 with respect to s, we find d2e ds2 equals to z into di ds, as because z is an impedance and it is constant, so certainly it will give us z into di ds. As well as differentiating equation 2 with respect to s, again we get d2i ds2 equals to y into de ds. Let's put out the value of di ds from equation 2 into this d2e ds2 equation, and we will get z into y into e. Let it be our equation 3. Similarly, if we put the value of de ds from equation 1 into this equation, we will get d2i ds2 equals to z into y into I, and let it be our equation 4. So these are the differential equations of the transmission line. One is for d2e ds2 and the other one is for d2i ds2. Let us take capital E equals to E0 e to the power j omega t and I equals to I0 e to the power j omega t. By solving these equations 3 and 4 with the help of conventional method of solving differential equations, we will get m equals to plus minus of root zy. Now what is m? M, as we know, that it is the root of the differential equation. So by putting the value of m, we get two solutions, one for capital E, and that is a into e to the power root zy s, plus b e to the power minus of root zy s, equation 6, and capital I, that is the current, equals to c e to the power root zy s plus d e to the power minus of zy s, where as we know that a, b, c and d are all arbitrary constants of integration. Now since the distance is measured from the receiving end of the line, it is possible to assign boundary conditions such that at s equals to 0, I equals to IR and capital E equals to ER. So equations 6 and 7 becomes ER equals to A plus B and IR equals to C plus D. Let it be equation 8. Now here a second set of boundary conditions is not available, but as you can find that there are 4 constants to be found. So the same set of boundary conditions can be used over again, and we can get a new set of equations by differentiating equation 6 and 7 as dE ds equals to a root over of zy e to the power root over of zy s minus b root zy e to the power minus of root zy s. After putting the value of dE ds from equation 1, we get I into z equals to a root zy e to the power root over of zy s minus b root zy e to the power minus of root zy s, or we can get I equals to a root over of y by z e to the power root over of zy s minus b root of y by z e to the power minus of root zy s. Let it be our equation number 9. In a similar manner, we can get di ds. Di ds equals to c root over of zy e to the power root zy s minus of d root zy e to the power minus of root zy s. And again by putting the value of di ds from equation 2, we have e into y equals to c root zy e to the power root zy s minus d root of zy e to the power minus of root of zy s, or we can get E equals to C root over of Z by Y e to the power root ZY S minus D root of Z by Y e to the power minus of ZY S, and let it be equation 10. Now putting the boundary conditions again, that is at S equals to 0, I equals to IR, E equals to ER, at equations 9 and 10 we have IR equals to A root Y by Z minus B root Y by Z. Let it be equation 11, and ER equals to C root Z by Y minus D root Z by Y, and let it be equation 12. Now simultaneous solutions of equations 8 with equations 11 and 12, along with the fact that ER equals to IR into ZR, ER equals to IR and ZR, and root over of Z by Y equals to Z0. We have capital A equals to ER by 2 plus IR by 2 root over of Z by Y. Capital B equals to ER by 2 minus of IR by 2 root over of Z by Y. Capital C equals to IR by 2 plus ER by 2 root over of Y by Z, and capital D equals to IR by 2 minus of ER by 2 into root over of Y by Z. So by putting ER equals to IR ZR, equation A can be written as A equals to ER by 2 plus IR means ER by ZR, and root over of Z by Y as Z0. By taking ER by 2 common, we have 1 plus Z0 by ZR. So the constant A can be found as ER by 2 into 1 plus Z0 by ZR. Similarly, we can have B equals to ER by 2 into 1 minus of Z0 by ZR. Capital C equals to IR by 2 into 1 plus ZR by Z0, and capital D can be found as IR by 2 into 1 minus ZR by Z0. So by putting the values of A, B, C and D, we have E equals to ER by 2 into 1 plus Z0 by ZR, that is the value of A, into e to the power root ZYS plus 1 minus Z0 by ZR e to the power minus of root ZYS, that is by putting the value of B, and capital I equals to IR by 2 into 1 plus ZR by Z0 e to the power root ZYS plus 1 minus ZR by Z0 e to the power minus of root ZYS, that is by putting the values of C and the value of D. So these are our equation number 13 and 14. Now equation 13 can be simplified further as E equals to ER into ZR plus Z0 by ZR. So ZR plus Z0 by twice ZR, and we are left with e to the power root over of ZYS. As ZR plus Z0 has been taken common, so we must write here ZR minus Z0, that is from this term ZR minus Z0 divided by ZR plus Z0, simple mathematical calculations, into e to the power minus of root ZYS. And from equation 14 we have I equals to, again it can be written in similar manner, that is IR into ZR plus Z0 by twice Z0 common. It will have e to the power root over of ZYS plus, as this term is Z0 minus ZR and we have taken ZR plus Z0 common, so we will write minus ZR minus Z0 by ZR plus Z0 into e to the power minus of root of ZYS, and this will be equation number 15 and 16. Okay, these are a final and very useful form of the equations for voltage and current. Now equation 13 and 14 may also be arranged as E equals to ER into e to the power root of ZYS plus e to the power minus of root ZYS whole divided by 2 plus IR into Z0, then again e to the power root of ZYS minus e to the power minus of root ZYS divided by 2, and I can be written as I equals to IR e to the power root ZYS plus e to the power minus of root ZYS divided by 2 plus ER by Z0 into e to the power root of ZYS minus e to the power minus of root ZYS whole divided by 2. And as you can find that these two equations can be recognized as E equals to ER cos hyperbolic root ZYS plus IR into Z0 sin hyperbolic root of ZYS, and then I can be written as I equals to IR cos hyperbolic root of ZYS plus ER by Z0 and into sin hyperbolic root of ZYS. So these are our equation number 17 and 18. Now these equations, that is equation number 17 and 18, constitute a second very useful form for the voltage and current values at any point on a transmission line. Although these equations are extensively used, it is believed that the exponential forms of equations 15 and 16 lead to a clearer physical picture of the phenomena occurring on a line, and they also lead to an easier calculation with complex values of root ZY. So in this particular class, I have derived the general solution of the transmission line equation. In our third class, I give you the physical significance of the equation and define what is an infinite line. So till then, goodbye.